yourself, it touches on all three. So if you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you can easily say, I'm the face of God. And when you do that, you're in first person. But you can also recognize in that I am the face of God that I'm not the only face of God, which means I'm connected to all things, which puts us in this universal flow of life. As we look up to in the stars, we can also say, you are the face of God. As we look at our dog in the morning, or our kitty cat, or whomever or whatever we're looking at, it's the face of God if you believe in the third person God, which is a representation of the allness of life and the power behind it. So that second person, though, is the you in the mirror. You know, I could point my finger at myself in the mirror, and sometimes I don't recognize myself. I don't know if anybody else is in that same boat. But that happens, particularly when it's close to birthday time. Which is, and some people back here know that my birthday is August 20th, so 2 days away, 48 hours. Yeah, 48 hours. You should clap, because I've been alive a long time. And 69 years, I get a little, a clap for that. Of course, there are people in here who could get a longer ovation. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. How many people have August birthdays? August birthdays. Just you and me right now? Just you and me? Well, I think we ought to sing to us. What do you think? Can we do that? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday, dear you and me. Happy birthday. The Unity Tabernacle Choir. That was good. I heard parts of harmony there I have never heard before. That's fantastic. So welcome. If you haven't been here in a while, we certainly welcome you back. If you have been here recently, thank you for coming again. This is a very interesting situation from up here. I'll tell you why. So last week, this side was full. And now it's semi-empty, and this week, this side's full. And if it's just because you're switching seats because you like to see life from a different angle, I think that's absolutely wonderful. But otherwise, I think that we're going to have this side full before long here. Usually after the prayer, people start drifting on in, and we love that. So, welcome. If you're brand new, welcome again. And if you're new on live stream, we will see you. If you type in hello or your name, we'll be able to see you and know that you're there. So if you do that, we'd love to be able to know that you're with us today. Yeah, Unity of Pasadena, it's a very special place. We have a saying around Unity, or at least I do, and you guys have joined me in this saying that I'd like you to join me in right now. There's only one thing.
There's only one thing.
It may look like more than one thing. It may feel like more than one thing.
It may feel like more.
But it's only one thing.
Only one thing.
Expressing as you, expressing as me, and everything we see.
Everything we see.
That's pretty exciting. So we also have a unity blessing that we'd like to say together, please. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you just the way you are. And a statement of faith. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. God the good omnipotent. And I am one with that presence and power. Well, with that as a backdrop for... Oh, right on. Woo-hoo. Well, as a backdrop for sinking into prayer, I would love for Care to give us a nice gong in. Oh, feel that vibration. Well done, by the way. Let's take a deep breath behind that vibration. And exhale. So let's just recognize the presence of God right here in this very space, the presence of Spirit, that universal power, that life force that we just oftentimes call love. Let's recognize that right now in our hearts, in our minds, in our bodies, throughout our bodies. For we're calling forth the presence of God, the feeling of, the conscious contact with. We do that right now. We recognize that when we have conscious contact with God, we have conscious contact with all that is. And if that's a person, great. If it's a space or a place, fantastic. If that's a memory or a greater yet to be, that's what you are connected to in this very moment when you summon the presence of God, that conscious contact. We recognize that in this very space, we feel love for one another. We feel love for all of life, for the next experience that comes to us and through us. We just embrace it. We find the good in it. We move forward as an opportunity and a possibility. We do that right here and right now. If there's anything that's in your mind that's distressful or anxiety-ridden or anything that brings about a feeling of discomfort, just breathe it out right now. And prepare for the oneness of today, for we love Sundays. We're so grateful for this space, Unity of Pasadena, and for the people in it. We're grateful for the people that greet us on the way in, for the people that give of their time to make certain that this space is exactly what it should be all of the time. And that includes the Board of Trustees as well as our volunteers. It includes our prayer chaplains who hold the light for each and every one of us, and our musicians that bring about a feeling of connection with life itself every time they sing and play and allow us to feel it with them. We just bless all things. Blessings abound. And so it's with great thanksgiving that I know all of this is true and that today unfolds perfectly. It's with great thanksgiving that I welcome you to your greater yet to be, a transformative experience, if you are willing. I just say yes. I release these words into the law of mind, knowing that they're already done. Please join me by saying, and so it is. Amen. Whew. Well, she's got the clock ready. That means it's time to choose something. Let's see what I got today. Oh, by the way, for those of you that weren't here last week, we lost Jonah. Yeah, but we found the basket that had the original loaves and fishes in it. So this fed the 5,000, and as soon as we get 5,000, we'll get a bigger basket. Let's see what we got here. All right. This is interesting. This says just a question without asking the name or what this person was all about. Says, the older brother in the prodigal son? The older brother in the prodigal son? Question mark? Well, as I recall, there is no name, but we can give him a name if we like. We could give him a name. Let's call him Jonah. Since we lost Jonah, we'll bring him back to life in the story. The older brother and the prodigal son, actually, much like the fish, the whale, swallowing up the life itself and holding it captive as opposed to living it, because that's what he did. In the prodigal son, this older brother was the one that was always sick and tired of his dad not giving him the attention he deserved, but always willing to do what the dad wanted. Because I don't know, perhaps he was afraid, perhaps he wanted to please his father so he could actually get the accolades that he thought he so deserved. And all of the things that he thought about his life were confirmed when his little brother, the prodigal son himself, ran off and took the fortune that was to be his as soon as the father died, and then squandered it all while he was out there on all sorts of things. We don't know what those things might have been, but this is a parable, so that means it didn't happen, but it's instructive for us. So he comes back. The prodigal son comes back. He's broke and destitute and sees some value in coming back to the fold, but is afraid because he doesn't know how his father's gonna act. Because when he ran off, they had words, they had a difficult relationship, and now he's back. The father welcomes him with open arms. I mean, that is a metaphor for God welcoming us no matter what we've done. That's a magnificent metaphor. But here's the interesting part about this, is that welcoming, that act of love, really ticked off the brother. I mean, it confirmed everything he thought about the father, that he liked the prodigal son better than he liked him. The anger, the resentment, the seething, I mean, it was all there. I mean, what an interesting character for this story, isn't it? Isn't that interesting? I mean, if you just wanted to say, oh yeah, God welcomes us back, no matter what we've done, you could say that. You wouldn't have to even have the brother in the picture. Wouldn't have even been a character in this thing, But he is. He is, because we're to take a look at this story as if we are any number of the characters in it. Have you ever been the father who's been hurt and scorned? Have you ever been the second son who lived in resentment? Have you ever been the prodigal son that's made the mistake yet wanted to come back to the fold? How does it feel to live life from different perspectives? I mean, that parable is genius. It is life in a small, short story, But that second son, I mean, you could see it in your life, I think, even more than you see the father or the prodigal son. I mean, I have. There have been times in my life when I've been seething with resentment and was unable to let it go, thinking that I wasn't getting mine. This is how you set the table for forgiveness parables, and Jesus did just that. So, great question, but I kind of had to go a little beyond what I think the question was asking. I don't know. I hope it worked out. How much time did we take? 3 minutes, 37. The last 37 seconds, they were the best. So we're going to leave them in, okay? We'll leave those last 37 seconds in. So 3 minute, 37 minute question is a 3 minute, 37 second question for today. So we're going to sing a song, aren't we? We are so pleased to have you here. And yes, I got to tell you, this doesn't happen often, but every time she shows up, I feel like I should get her autograph or something. I mean, really.
And she brought cookies.
No. Wow, generous heart too.
If I could give one gift to you, as solid as the morning dew, a window pane the light shines through, the spaces in between us, a gift my heart would bring, the sweet release of everything, the breath I take before I sing, the spaces in between us, trusting in what might arise without a thought preceding, as simple as a baby's sighs, resting and receiving. It's not what keeps our souls apart, but what connects and dreams us, the vast potential of the heart the spaces in between us. So I offer what my heart has found, the silent love that's all around, a symphony without a sound, the spaces in between us. If I could give you more than this, let it be forever's kiss, mindful of my mindlessness, the spaces in between us. Mindful of my mindlessness, the spaces in between us.
Hello to everybody. Thank you, Ray. Before I share with you, I just want to thank Allison and Mitch for sharing with us. They don't just sing and play the piano. They create an aura of beauty and spirituality and share it with all of us. Can we give them another hand? Thank you. You know, when I get up here, I always have to share something, and so I will again. I looked at the first paragraph on this, and it brought to mind something that happened to me almost 10 years ago now. I had a very serious situation where I was in a very complicated surgery. When I came out of the surgery, they kept me drugged for quite a while. I can't tell you how long, but they didn't want me to move, and it went on for a number of days, I was told. But weird things happen when you're under that kind of a situation, and I was in this void, and there were like bright yellow stars were flashing here and there, but everything else was black. I was in this rickety old car, and it was a bright yellow, but I had my seatbelt on, and I was in the back seat, and it was bouncing all over the place. And all of a sudden, a voice came to me, very demanding. "You're going astray, get on the road." And I said, I can't. I'm strapped, I can't reach the steering wheel. And the voice came back and said, "You don't need the steering wheel, use your mind." And I understand that I guess it must have been shortly after that, but they said when my vital signs were at their lowest and they thought I wasn't going to come back, there I was. I came back, and I thought about that for many years because it was a really weird experience. But the fact remains that the message I really came out of it with is the fact that we have a conscious or a body that has limitations, but we have a spiritual side that doesn't know limitations. And in between, we have a connector, and that connector is our mind. And so I really love the fact that I get to speak about this. As a divine being, I am whole. I know I am whole, wondrously made in a unique expression of the divine. But I cannot truly know wholeness if I become distracted by an experience of illness or thoughts of lack or limitation. I do not resist limiting thoughts. Instead, I let the light of divine understanding dissolve the darkness of spiritual ignorance. Remembering that divine life lives as me, I affirm my body's wholeness, even if I'm experiencing illness. Growing awareness of the limitless flow of divine ideas reminds me I have all I need to experience a joyous, abundant life. As I say yes again and again to my true spiritual nature, my life becomes an ever-unfolding demonstration of wholeness. If then your whole body is full of light, with no part of it in darkness, it will be as full of light as when a lamp gives you the light with its rays. Luke chapter 11, verse 36. I'm a little shorter. Just a little bit. Okay. All right. Perfect. Good morning. Breathe in. Allow yourselves to get in a comfortable position, trusting that your body will let you know when it is just right. And when you're ready, gently, lovingly close your eyes. Notice this moment, here, now. Notice your breath as you inhale and exhale. Cool air in, warm air out. Notice your body and how you feel as you sit comfortably in this safe, love-filled space. Allow the air to flow freely and naturally, feeling your abdomen muscles expanding on every in-breath and contracting naturally on every out-breath. Imagine yourself walking along a beautifully shaded forest path. It's so peaceful and calm. The sun is shining through the trees, and you feel its warmth. The plants seem to take on a soft glow as the sunshine warms them. You hear a soft rustling of leaves as a cool breeze passes by the treetops. You can hear the birds and their different songs as they fly about. You hear a woodpecker somewhere working diligently to secure its meal. And high above, a hawk cries as it surveys the landscape. As you walk, breathing in the freshness of the air, peace and serenity surround you. You approach a clearing surrounded on three sides by the big, beautiful forest. And straight across from you, you see a lake shimmering beautifully and calmly in the sunlight. In the middle of the clearing, you see a majestic white building made of the whitest and brightest stone you have ever seen. It almost seems to be made of a welcoming, bright light. And yet, it seems familiar. You're drawn to it. You walk up to the steps, and very slowly, you begin to ascend, taking one step at a time. 1, 2, 3. The higher up you go, the more at peace you become. 4, 5, 6. You are now feeling joy grow in your heart.
7, 8, 9. You are feeling protected, invincible. One more step, and you reach the pure white, immense doors at the entrance. Etched above the doors are the words, I accept that the divine source is unlimited. I am divine, therefore I am unlimited. You notice a basket to your left, and above the basket there is another etching, which says, surrender here your fears, your doubts, your arguments, your discourses. Leave behind all obstacles you cherish so much. Think of that which you would like to place in that basket. Release it and let it go, even if only for this moment. Then, turn away from the basket and stand once again in front of the large doors. Breathe in and say to yourself, I accept that the divine source is unlimited. I am divine, therefore I am unlimited. Spend a few breaths repeating this to yourself. I accept that the divine source is unlimited. I am divine, therefore I am unlimited. Then you place your hand on the door. You expect the door to be heavy, but it opens with just the gentlest of touch. The doors open to an expansive room with a brilliant light radiating from the center of it. You are drawn to it. It pulls you. It envelops you. It is so bright you are blinded, but you are not afraid. You are loved. You are protected. You feel the love. You know you are safe. As you approach the center, you are overcome with a feeling of pure joy, pure love. You know you are loved. You feel powerful. You feel you can do anything. You now know that this is truly a holy place. This is divine consciousness. This is the very center of the universe. You are in the heart of the most divine. You now recognize that this dwelling place of divine consciousness is your own heart center. This is your own personal holy place. No one can come here except you and the divine. This is where your power lies. All you had to do was release the doubt, fear, and other unnecessary debris you insisted on carrying on your journey. Now, take a deep breath. Take 2 minutes, immersing yourself in the light, repeating the words above the door to yourself. I accept that the divine source is unlimited. I am divine, therefore I am unlimited. I accept that the divine source is unlimited. Therefore, I am unlimited. Know that this is your own holy place. You may return here anytime you wish, but for now, you must return to this place where you started. Walk towards the open door. See the basket. Take a moment to decide what it is you will do with what you placed in there. Walk down the stairs. 10, 9, 8. You are loved. 7, 6, 5. You are protected. 4, 3, 2. You are safe. 1. Breathe in. Open your eyes. And come back. You are divine and all is well. As we pray the prayer of St. Francis, let us say it slowly and think about what the words are actually saying and what it is you're actually asking for. God, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine presence, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is through grace that we are given eternal life.
Many nights we prayed with no proof anyone could hear. In our hearts a hope for song we barely understood. Now we are not afraid, although we know there's much to fear. We were moving mountains long before we knew we could. There can be miracles when you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to tell. Who knows what miracles you can achieve? When you believe, somehow you will. You will when you believe. In this time of fear, when prayer so often proves in vain, hope seems like the summer bird too swiftly flown away. As now I'm standing here, my heart so full I can't explain, seeking faith and speaking words I never thought I'd say. There can be miracles when you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve? When you believe, somehow you will. You will when you
I believe. I do. So I must apologize to you as well. I don't often forget to do something that I really thought about early on, but I don't have to think about this with other singers, but I needed to release the snare. See, you can tighten the tension on the snare and or release it, you know, but other singers, you don't have to worry about that. I mean, you made the snare drum vibrate. You hit that note. Did you? Yeah. Oh, that's a supreme compliment, you know. I mean, that's really great. It's much better than cracking a window. Yeah, but the same principle applies. Yeah. So we're doing soup this month, you guys. Do you like soup? I do too. Soup is so malleable. You can put whatever you want in it. There are so many different kinds. You know, you can whatever you have in the refrigerator, you can make that's left over. You can make soup out of. I mean, it is just versatile, isn't it? And you always kind of wonder whether or not that's going to work. You know, this ingredient and that ingredient and all that kind of stuff. You know, but soup is a great metaphor for the things that really mean something to me that I really like, because I've thrown that into the soup this month. So we've talked about some things that I really, really appreciate and enjoy. One was the first week was Eric Butterworth, The Creative Life. The second week was The Three Faces of God. This week is a Wayne Dyer book. We're going to talk about a Wayne Dyer book. How many of you have either read or listened to Wayne Dyer over your life? Look at this. Now that is really incredible, because I could ask the same question of this group. How many of you have read the Bible? And you'd get about 2 or 3 hands coming up, you know, but how many of you have read Wayne Dyer? Whoa, I got both hands up on that one. 2 hands up, yeah. And you know, that's really interesting, because it is so illustrative of the message and how it's transmitted. You know, are you ready for the type of message that comes essentially 100% of the time out of love, which is what Wayne Dyer does. He brings it out of love. And sometimes you have to dig for the message in the Bible, and sometimes it doesn't feel like it's coming from love. And I understand that a lot of people don't believe that there's any love in the Old Testament, but you can find, you know, human experiences which bring about that feeling and understanding that love in the end is exactly what occurs. But one time, not too long ago, well, it was a long time ago, I'd say, give me 6 years. Maybe 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. I did a talk on Wayne Dyer, and I asked the audience, when I read a Wayne Dyer quote, whether that was Wayne Dyer or somebody else, like Jesus. Of course, I had to use, when I quoted Jesus, to see whether or not it was Wayne Dyer or somebody else, some other famous writer or philosopher. I had to sort of update the language. You know, I had to update the language. So people got a lot of them wrong. They would say, "Oh, that's Jesus." Nope, that's Wayne Dyer. That one was Wayne Dyer. "Oh, that's Wayne Dyer." Nope, that was Jesus. Who was that? And I'd say, well, that one was Ernest Holmes. And in here I could say, that one was Charles Fillmore, you know, or that one was Myrtle Fillmore, because this kind of truth is universal, and you find it in old writings and newer writings and philosophy and psychology, because it's all helpful stuff. And so I was looking through this You'll See It, You'll Believe It book again to kind of get a sense for how that works for today and what I was going to talk about. And I thought, you know, one of the most important things in my life has been the understanding that I create my life through my thoughts. That what I'm thinking has so much to do with what shows up in my life, and especially when I couple it with, you know, a real belief, which some people call faith, and feeling behind it. It really starts to to draw my attention and my intention to issues and things, and they tend to show up in my life. What you think about expands. Have you ever noticed that? What you think about expands in your life. It starts to show up. Now, I don't believe that, in coincidences and all of that kind of stuff. I believe that these things really are, once you put your attention on them, there. They're already there, just like everything else. But you just start to notice it and attract those things to you. I mean, that's how this thing works. It's not like, I start thinking about something and then all of a sudden the Taj Mahal appears right in front of me because, I either said the words or clicked my heels or had the thought. That's not what I'm talking about. But I might be drawn to a place where there are, pictures or drawings of the Taj Mahal, or seeing the architecture of the Taj Mahal in architecture around my community that I never noticed before, Oh, there's a house down the street. It's got very much the same sort of spire on it as the Taj Mahal. Anyway, just an example. So the power of the mind, the power of thought is so amazingly important in our lives. Wayne Dyer starts off in this book, you'll see it when you believe it, by talking about how we are fixated with what's around us, perhaps our bodies, perhaps the substance that has created the material world in front of us. We're fixated with that, and we think that that is the majority of our life. And he goes so far as to say that's only 1% of your life. Just 1%. This body of yours is merely 1% of your life. The 99% is somehow in here, in your thoughts, in your feelings, in your beliefs, in the experiences that will be created as a result of the thoughts and feelings and beliefs that you have. The real life is what's happening in the unseen world. The real life that you live is there. And when you believe it, you'll see it. Now, when I first looked at that book, I thought it was about, just manifestation. And then I dug deeper and I thought, well, this is really about transformation. And he goes so far as to say this is about transformation as well as manifestation. Meaning the it is you'll see this transformation when you believe it, this transformation. So, Wayne Dyer had a transformation, and that's really one of the reasons why he was so interested in writing this book. And that transformation occurred over the course of time, but became a spiritual awakening which he could put his finger on as being that transformative moment at a particular time in his life, even though the predicate for that, the foundation for that, was being lived throughout his entire life. This is how that worked. So Wayne Dyer was born in 1940. He had 3 brothers. He was the youngest of 3 brothers. And when he was 2, his father left, just pulled up stakes and took off. He never saw him again. None of the brothers saw him again. Apparently, his mother never saw him again either. He just left. Of course, Wayne Dyer was only 2 years old, and he didn't even have any memories of his father. But he knew what happened after that, and he always blamed his father for it, which is that they lived in abject poverty. His mother could not work enough jobs to keep a roof over their head, and the boys, including himself, ended up in foster care. And it wasn't that they all went to the same foster care. They were split up, and it was a real difficult situation, although they were reunited once in a while when there seemed to be a time when their mother could handle the burden, both financial and physical, of 3 children. But they were often in foster care. And of course, he blamed his father for that. But at the same time, he wondered what kind of person would do it, any kind of person in the abstract, who would leave their family. And then he started to think, well, I think that what I should do based upon these feelings that I have is to do all the research I possibly can and try and figure out who this guy was, and to try and find out why he might have left his family. Wayne Dyer was obviously hurt by it to a great degree, a horrible hurt deep inside. He went from anger to, as he got a little bit older and more mature, to trying to find ways to release that anger by saying things to himself like, well, he was doing the best he could, stuff like that. But that wasn't cutting it, because it seemed to him that the best a person could would be to at least have some contact after they left. I mean, at least get a hold of them, maybe write a letter, maybe say, I'll meet you at a Starbucks or whatever. But he didn't do any of that. He just disappeared. So despite all of this, Wayne Dyer, deep in his heart, wanted to, of course, find out more about his father, but he moved on with his life to a great degree, got a PhD in counseling psychology, and started to work for an institution, several different colleges. And while he was at one particular college as an employee, as a teacher, he was asked to take a different assignment, which took him to Mississippi, to the south, between New Orleans and Biloxi, Mississippi. He was doing some work and some research there. And his previous inquiries about his father had led him to believe that his father was somehow in that area, had run off to that particular area. And so he thought, I'm going to do some research to try and figure out what my father was really about, because he was in the South where he could do that. Well, once he got there, he found out that his father had passed away in 1970, and that was the truth, because he searched all the records, the death records, for people with his father's name on it, and found that, yes, in 1970, the man who had that name died, and he was buried in the state of Mississippi. So he started to do a little bit more research and determined that if he was going to find out more, he would have to go to the cemetery and maybe, talk to some people that knew him in that particular area and research some records and find out a little bit more about him. And he resolved that he resolved to do that. He was going to do that. So he decided to get a rental car, because his assignment at that time was in New Orleans. So he got a rental car, and it was a brand new rental car. This is a really fascinating story. Anybody ever heard this before? You've heard this story before, how he gets into the rental car, and it's a brand new car, yet there is a card in that rental car that has the name of a hotel in Biloxi. And it turns out that card was like the first clue, because once he got to Biloxi, that hotel was right next to the cemetery that his father was buried in. Right next to that place. It was like it's like he's being led somehow to, this is how he puts it, being led somehow to this cemetery so that he can start to get some information about his father, at least have a place to begin. So he gets out there in Biloxi, and he calls this cemetery, calls 3 different cemeteries, finds out that he's in this cemetery right next to this hotel, and says, can I come and see this gravesite, my father's gravesite, tonight? And the guy goes, sure. This was, by the way, the paupers' cemetery. I mean, there were several different cemeteries, right? I mean, here's the rich one with all the big old statuesque and crypts and all that kind of thing. And then there's the middle ground, with headstones, and this one's a pauper. This was like a pauper cemetery. So he goes out there to this cemetery, and he goes inside and finds the records for his father as to where he's buried, and goes out to his site of burial. And he stands over that grave, and he starts to have a conversation with his father for 2.5 hours. And it goes in and out of anger and in and out of pain and every emotion that can be felt, from screaming to silently whispering to himself. All sorts of emotions were being released. And finally, he got to the place where he just started bawling his head off and said, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. And he said, I forgive you. I forgive you. I love you. I love you for whatever you are today, because you're just an expression of life. You know, you brought about something in me that was painful and hurtful, but I can't carry that around anymore. I think that was a pretty good forgiveness moment. Wayne Dyer experienced a forgiveness moment for the things that had happened in his life, and for carrying the rock of that story for so long, because that's what he was doing. He was carrying the rock of that story since he was, old enough to think about his father and why his father had left. He'd been carrying that heavy, heavy, heavy rock. So what happened after this? Well, he went back to doing his job, but he felt some sort of release around this, and he felt that he had been completely changed. And as he had tried to write in the past, he tried to write books and articles and tried to put together speeches and connect with audiences in a way that was powerful and important. He couldn't do that until that moment. He went home and wrote his first book. He wrote his first book. It was called The Erroneous Zones. And then after that, he wrote book after book after book, and he became a prolific speaker as well. But a speaker in a way that was, for him, different than what he had thought he was going to be doing. You see, before he had that experience, what he thought he was going to be talking about was telling people how to do things. Giving them instructions, the rules, the guidelines, or what they should be doing. He thought that was going to be what he was doing as a teacher. But he found out after this experience that what he was doing, or what he wanted to do, and what was unfolding, was that he was talking about transformation. He wasn't telling people how to do it. He was talking about it all the time. This is the way it moves forward. This is the way it happens. This is the way it happened in me. These are the obstacles to transformation. Don't know if they apply to you or not, but they're the obstacles. Not this is your list of things you must do if you intend to transform from who you are right now. And he said in this book that what he was doing before was using the will to try and make people do things. But what he's setting forth in all of the material today is to place in front of people the idea that willingness is the most important thing. Being willing to step into it is much more important than using your will to demand it. Being willing that it unfold in you and showing that willingness. So I want to thank Amanda for choosing the prayer of St. Francis today, because I believe that everything about that prayer demonstrates willingness. I mean, that's what it's about. It's about willingness. Now, by the way, it seems like St. Francis can't figure out how to get what he wants. So he prays to God, essentially, through this prayer. And he's asking God to let him be and to bring him this and to give him that, give him the ability to do that. But it sounds to me like a whole lot of willingness. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Gosh, that says I want to be. I'm willing to be an instrument of your peace. I'm willing to be peace. Because we know that in order for peace to come forward, we have to be that peace we'd like to see. Where there's hatred, let me sow love. Wow. Now that's a tough one, right? That is a real, real tough one. But that was the quest that finally created the transformation in Wayne Dyer. Where there's hatred, which drove him to this thing called love that was healing for him and created a transformation in him. St. Francis is asking for that. Where there's injury, pardon, forgiveness. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. He's willing. He's willing to fill that darkness in his heart with light. You know, when he says darkness, light, he's not talking about the physical world. He's talking about darkness within himself. Let there be light. That's what let there be light is all about in the Bible. You know, there's all kinds of transformative stuff in the Bible. The things that are said throughout the Bible are all about transformation. We just think they're hidden in some sort of dogmatic, fundamentalist text, but they're not. I mean, here's a good one right here. I love this. This is Romans 12:2, and it's Paul, and he says, "And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." Now, be not conformed to this world means don't think the same old thoughts. Don't think the same old thoughts you've always thought. You will be transformed only by the renewing of your mind. Allow it to be renewed. Let new thoughts in. Start to take new action. That's exactly what Wayne Dyer was doing when he went out and found himself so wrapped up in the anger and fear and past that he had to release that. He had to have a new thought. His transformation was not about finding out about his father. His transformation was releasing all of that. That was the new thought. That was stepping into something brand new. That was having a new idea. Can we have a new idea? Well, sure we can. Of course we can. Will it always be transformational? Well, maybe. Depends on just how important it is to you, how much of a change it creates in you. That's how you'll remember it. You know, each of you have probably had some experiences in your lives that you will certainly never forget. Each of you have had things happen in your life that have pushed you to greater heights in terms of what you have to do to even get through it. And you know, if you just sit there and wallow in the pain, nothing's going to change. If you're going to take the steps that maybe would be appropriate to take to find something new, a new experience, you might go seek out some people that have some ideas. You might go to different places and meet with people and become a benefit as opposed to a vessel for sorrow. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard to have those new thoughts, those new ideas. You know, I think that the whole idea of new thought itself is just beautiful. And it's named aptly. Unity, by the way, is a new thought religion. Unity is a new thought religion. And that's because it does not conform to the old ways of thinking around Christianity. You know, the new thought in unity is how we view something, how we view the Bible, how we view Jesus, how we view any other example, how we view any of the material that we read, how we look at it. And the bottom line is that when people who were espousing new thought principles stepped into that arena, they said, you know, the first thing you got to do is let go of everything you thought it meant. Because if you don't, then ye shall be conformed to the world. If you don't, you're going to get the same old thought patterns over and over and over and over again. This whole book that Wayne Dyer wrote is about not doing that. It's about stepping into the infinite of who you are within so that you can see some of that stuff unfold outside of you, in your life. I think that what I wanted when I looked at Wayne Dyer initially was to connect with a way of seeing the world that felt beautiful and true and kind and loving. That's what I wanted. That's what I got. But you know what else I got? What I got was him saying, throughout history, there's been this stuff. It's there. He quotes more people than anybody I've ever seen as a writer. Every chapter has quote after quote after quote after quote. I mean, and they're really, really good quotes too. I mean, I love it. I love quotes, and I got plenty of Wayne Dyer quotes. He says, to successfully open the door to heightened awareness, we must open it inward. If you want these things to happen for you, you got to open that door inward. It's not about going out and getting a new car. It's not about going out and getting a new house. It's not about going out and getting a new wife or a new husband or a new boyfriend or girlfriend. It's not what it's about. It's about opening the door inward. What's in there? You know, Wayne Dyer started his quest to try and figure out what happened in the world, how his father acted within the world, how his father was as an expression in the world. He was all out there about that. You know, he didn't have that information. He wanted that information. But what he ended up doing was having to go inside and say, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what's out there. That's not what's going to make the change. What's going to make the change is if I stop the war, is if I reach out my hand, is if I open my heart, is if I recognize that he, as well as I, is an expression of the same divine entity, that same thing that is all things, that same wonderful life resource. Maybe a bad example, maybe a good bad example. But nonetheless, an expression of God. All things are just one thing. You know, what's wild is that, Wayne Dyer could be a Buddhist. Wayne Dyer could be a Hindu. Wayne Dyer, I mean, he did this whole book on Lao Tzu. He could be a new thought congregant. He could be a congregant right here. If he was still alive, he could be right here, and he'd sit here and he'd shake his head and go, that's exactly what I think. And I'd say, yes, because I got it from you. He brings all of that wrapped into one. And if there's anything that about this talk that I would like to bring to you, it's the inquisitive nature that says, I got to read some more of that guy. I'd really like to listen to the stuff that he talked about. I'd really like to read the stuff that he wrote. I'd like to get the benefits that he got. So, that's my ingredient in the soup today. And the soup's getting really rich, isn't it? Isn't the soup getting fun? I mean, it's got all sorts of favorite stuff in there, you know? And now that you have some of the first few ingredients, you can see how it mixes in so well with the next ones that are popping in, you know? I mean, I just love this stuff. So remember, as Wayne Dyer says, that there is more power in thought than any of us ever recognized. There truly is more opportunity in thought than we ever recognized. And that because that opportunity is always there, we should open our eyes to the newness of it. So with that, I say to you guys, namaste. Namaste. I love you. All right, Trish, you're ushing today. I love it when you ush. You know, I don't want to put a hierarchy on this ushing thing, you know, like who's the best usher or usherette or whomever, but you're doggone good. I mean, you could train other ushers. You could, and I thank you for that. Here's who's with us today via live stream. Audrey's here. Hey, Audrey! We miss you, Audrey. We got Julio, too. Julio's not sitting next to you. Not in his regular seat. Okay, we know he's here, though. Thank you, Julio. Good to see you, man. All right, we got Mike. Mike's here, too. Mike is on today, and Colleen is, too. She's all the way from Illinois, you guys. Carol Bliss, the Reverend Dr. Carol Bliss, who, by the way, will be speaking for me on, when will that be, October 31st? September 1st, that's it. September 1st, that's a Sunday. She would be here, if she were here on August 31st, she'd be here on a Saturday, and that would be the wrong day. So it's September 1, she'll be here. Yeah, she'll be here. And then we have Luann. Hey, Luann, we miss you. And we have Charles de Turk. Hola, Charles. All the way from Michigan. So here's what we do. What we do is we with an open heart and an understanding of the law of circulation, we release those things that are just sources of joy to us so that that joy can be reborn or transformed in ways that can affect a ton of people. So we have tithes and treasures, the things that we care about, the things that can bring about a change in the world, we release them to. And so this space is a space that I believe is deserving of our attention in that regard. And so we have a community giving statement I'd like you to join me in. God is the source of my overflowing supply, and I am grateful, and so it is.
Right here, right now. Right here, right now. Again, something wonderful. Something wonderful. Something wonderful is happening to me. Right here, right now. I can feel it in my body. I can feel it in my body, in my soul. I can feel it in my soul, in my heart, and it won't go. I can feel it in my
right about that. So is Harold Payne. You know, here's the thing. If you believe that something wonderful's happening to you right now, you know what happens? It's happening. It is happening. All right, so we take these tithes and treasures and promise to use them with integrity for the benefit of Unity of Pasadena and the surrounding community, to be in a space where we collaborate with life itself. This beautiful space known as Unity of Pasadena is so thankful for these offerings, these tithes and treasures, and moves forward in a way that absolutely brings about a greater consciousness and our greater yet to be. And so I release these with great thanksgiving into the law of mind, knowing that it's done. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Trish. All right, so we have Barbara today. Come on, Barbara. Come on up. See, something wonderful is happening right here. See? I didn't take your stuff, did I?
No. Okay. Well, those were some wonderful new thoughts, Greg, and some wonderful melodies and words to touch the soul, Mitch and Allison. And let's now review our vision, our mission, and our core values. Our vision is what we see, what we're thinking about. It's our new thought. Let's say it together. Envisioning a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And the mission is our action, or what we want to do. So we want to transform lives by living and sharing our inner truth of divine wisdom, compassion, and love, using practical spiritual principles. And the demonstration of these things in our lives are our core values, which are creating community, living love, teaching truth, and serving spirit. And serving both our body and our community is our hospitality team. This week it is team K through R and the others that they stole. And it... Yes, I know. Honestly, we do need to take a look again. As you know, the numbers of people with the last names beginning with certain letters, changes, as time goes on. I think it's about time. We'll take another look and make sure we've got this evenly distributed, okay? And so then next week, the fourth Sunday, will be team S through Z. So thank you all, everyone, not only who provides, but those who stay and help create community. Our next big event is in September on the 12th, Wednesday, 11th, that's right. It ends back there, it's a 2-day event back there. Starts on the 11th, ends on the 12th. We're going to do it on Wednesday the 11th at 7 p.m. here, and our prayer chaplains are in charge of that. And we have a couple other happenings, one of which I want to invite Marty and Jackie up to talk about. They got a project that they'd like to share.
Thank you, Barbara. Hi, everybody.
Hi again.
So we are going to be the
Sunshine
Sunshine
Committee.
Committee. And what that is going to look like is another little bridge to connect us, because we really care about these people, don't we?
We care about everything. Most of it is good. Sometimes it's not looking as good as possible. But we want you to know that we care about each and every one of you. Birthdays, anniversaries.
And illnesses too, because a lot of times what happens is the prayer chaplains do prayer on people, but the rest of the congregation doesn't know what's going on, so we can't really find out if somebody is ill or on vacation. Like Connie McGinnis, for instance, she's been sick for a little while, and we have her permission to say that out loud, just as we do Luann, who is going through chemotherapy and radiation right now. And a lot of people don't know that, and we want to be able to make contacts with them and
make sure that they know we're thinking about them and that we care about them. Because sometimes, especially when you're not feeling well, you kind of forget that you're not alone in this. And that's really important to know that you have all this love behind you.
And we're such a loving bunch, we're going to just puppy pile everybody with love. So we will be going around and asking questions and getting some information updated. And there's also a few people in here who are not actually members yet. So we love you too, and we will want that information from you as well. Right?
I have to agree, yes.
So there you are. Thank you so much. Any more?
Leaving me with a mic is a dangerous thing to do.
Thank you, ladies. And next Sunday is going to be the first one of Basha and Pinoco's one-on-one 30-minute sound bath experiences, and it is, I'm sorry, completely filled up. But we will let you know the next time that they plan to do it. We'll have a new sign-up sheet so others can have that opportunity as well. And so now I'm going to turn it back over to Reverend Greg.
Thank you, Barbara. Appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate Jackie and Marty stepping into this outreach function, so that we have a bridge to people who are in their homes or someplace else and need attention, cards, personal visits, errands run, whatever needs to be done. These two have agreed to step into that spot and make sure that it gets handled or do it themselves, and we appreciate that. Thank you very much. So we're going to do the Silent Unity Prayer for Protection, and then we're going to do a song. Which song are we going to do today?
I choose love.
I choose love. Okay, fantastic. Great. Why don't we stand for the Silent Unity Prayer for Protection? Oh, by the way, if you'd like prayer after we finish the song, please stay in your seat and a prayer chaplain will come to you. And who's going to be doing that today? Amanda. Amanda will come to you and engage in prayer, and we thank you for that. So please join me. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever I am, God is. I am divine, and all is well.